What's good, everyone? Welcome to Sin on the Chat. This is your girl, Sin. Let's get right to it. So today I want to talk about this Jeezy and Jeannie Mai situation. Y'all, how crazy is this situation? I want to get into, I'm just going to do a rundown of a timeline of their relationship, their history, briefly. And I kind of want to dig into the dynamics of the situation and the effect that it is having on the public, and the public's reaction is what I find to be most interesting out of this whole situation. So let's get right to it, because I definitely want to hear from y'all and I want to hear your opinions on this, okay? So this is just my 2 cents. So we know Jeannie Mai and Jeezy got together back in around 2018, 2019. It was actually coming out that they were like rumors coming out that the two were seeing each other on the low shortly after Jeannie Mai's divorce from her ex-husband. And there were like pictures leaking that the two were like, hanging out. Lo and behold, 2019, they come out with it. They're seeing each other. You see them in that like epic like video clip when the two of them are riding in the car with the top down. And if y'all remember, they got a lot of hate when they came out. A lot of people were not here for it. And a lot of it was like because of race, or a lot of women felt like Jeezy should stick with Black women. And it was a lot of that. And Tasha K, I remember, came out and said, I call bullshit, right? Tasha K said right from the jump, she said, I think Jeezy don't want nothing to do with her. I think Jeezy is with that girl because he is trying to rebrand his image, and he wants to get into new spaces within like the industry.
Somebody sees somebody with some money, and you know that the only way for you to keep that money is to get pregnant. He's giving me the baby mama vibes, okay? He tried to be a baby mama, baby daddy for a check. This is his way to transcend from the has-been rapper. He ain't gonna be able to say too much longer. He can't say he'll snowman moving coke for too much longer. You know what I'm saying? So he had to solidify himself, and I told y'all from the beginning.
And I remember thinking when I saw that, like, damn, why are people so negative? Why are people so pessimistic? Like, people could really, be feeling each other. Like, they probably do really like each other. And it's just authentic. But you know what? Now looking back, hindsight is 2020, and I think Tasha K was right. Okay, and I'm going to get into that. So Jeezy's career was fizzling out as a rapper, right? He was getting older. Rap is mostly a young man's sport, though there's some old heads still in the game that's killing it. But Jeezy was on his way out, and he was probably thinking long term, like, I want to get into these different spaces, create a new image, do a show, do this, that, and the third. Who better to do it with than with someone like Jeannie Mai? Because Jeannie Mai is cookie cutter, but she's still a little hip too, And so they moved fast. Within like about 1.5 years, 2 years, they announced that they were getting married. And, they had the baby. Everything looked great on the surface. So then now it comes out that Jeezy files for divorce in September 2023. That was a huge shocker, right? And it was like, I think the reason listed was the generic irreconcilable differences or whatever the case. And everybody was like scratching their head, like, what is going on? Because typically, for the most part, it's women that file for divorce. So when a guy files for divorce, it's like, oh, damn, like shit must have really been bad. Like, what was happening? Or you see it when a guy is still hot and the woman, is probably a wife that they've had for a long time. She might be a little bit older, less attractive. The guy has like a midlife crisis and he goes with a younger girl, some of those things. But this wasn't any of that. So everybody's like, what happened? November comes around Jeezy runs over to do this interview, this unusual, out of the blue, random sit down with Nia Long. Now, if y'all remember, Nia Long was just coming out of her situation where Udoka, the coach, if I'm pronouncing that right, and he had that scandal where he cheated on Nia Long with his colleague. And she, felt that they got a son together. She was like down in the dumps. Everybody felt bad for Nia Long because she was getting cheated on. And he sat down and did this interview with her. So that's when my eyebrow raised a little bit because I thought, oh, so he's attaching himself to Nia Long, who everybody feels bad for right now. Is he implying that like Jeannie Mai was like awful to him? Like, what is he saying by doing this? And when everybody who watched that interview it was very vague, but he kind of made himself seem like the victim, right? Like you kind of felt bad for him. He talked about a tragic incident or incidents that happened to him when he was younger, where he was violated. And we all felt bad for Jeezy, but also let me just say this. I am a huge Jeezy fan. Music, I listen to Jeezy. I go to the gym about 5 times a week. I listen to Jeezy probably 2 or 3 of those times. Okay. So I know I used to be up in the street a little bit and Jeezy was playing, right? So I'm speaking as a fan, but I'm also speaking from a non-biased, just like a neutral perspective, okay? Just based on what I see. And so Jeezy comes out, does that. And I'm like, damn, like, this looks kind of crazy. Like I felt like he was really trying to stick it to Jeannie, trying to like turn people against her. Now, if y'all know, for women, anybody that has been in a relationship with someone who was abusive, narcissistic, I hate to even use the word narcissistic because I feel like this term is so widely used, is overused. And sometimes I think is used when it doesn't need to be used. But if you've been with a guy that's abusive, a lot of times they are narcissistic. And one of the things that they all have in common is they will run out to try to turn people against you. They will run out. They will tell your secrets. They will make lies up about you. They will try to make people hate you. And a lot of times it just so happens in our society, the men are regarded a lot more than women. So a lot of abusers and narcissists, they do that. They'll go out and they will try to get win the public over. And so I kind of was thinking like that's what he was doing. I didn't like that. Because also if you've ever been in a situation with someone like that, you know that, especially if you're a parent, you're like left behind. Like they come, it feels like they ransack your world, turn your world upside down, do all these like mental gymnastics on you and all this other stuff. And then you're sitting there trying to like put the pieces together, figure everything out. Like what just happened? Like, oh my God, like what I can't, like, who is this person? What did they just do? You're stuck trying to put everything together, all the pieces together. So this happens, and then he does another funny move where he tries to request like full custody of the child. And now I don't know what is going on behind the scenes, right? But we always see Jeannie Mai with the daughter. She looks like a great mother. I think he was saying she was always busy and the kid was always with family and not with her because she was traveling. But it just seemed weird to me that he would do that because I don't know. I've never known him or I've never seen him or seen a lot of pictures of him with his other children or his other child, right? And also, he was arrested for beating his son before. He was charged with that. Okay. And the accusations there was that he beat the kid up put him through a glass shower door, allegedly. The kid tried to get away. The bouncers allegedly would not let the kid out. All right. And then he got the kid on the bed and started thumping him. You know what I mean? It was just like beating him down. And what did Jeezy say when that happened? So when that happened, Jeezy said it was a lie. That never happened. They got into an argument. They was like that Jeezy threatened to off his own son. And that he said, quote unquote, allegedly, I would you if I could get away with it. And Jeezy, his people went to TMZ. What he's doing now is pretty much what they did, right? He went out, he tried to get ahead of it. What did he do? He blamed the baby mother. Oh, my baby mother just mad. She's a bee. She's this, she's that. She brainwashed my son. All of the typical stuff that you hear deadbeats and like bad dads and, abusers say. Oh, it's always the mother's fault. It's always the mother brainwashed the kid and that didn't happen. That's a lie. Anyway, lo and behold, he was supposed to get sentenced. And then the day before, the charges got dropped. Now, we can assume or guess what happened for those charges to get dropped, okay? The prosecutors didn't want to move forward with it. The mother probably backed out. The kid backed out. They said, we're not going to do this to him. Because, Jeezy was probably giving him some bread. He probably played the guilt trip. Maybe he took it a step further and said, if y'all do this, who knows what happened. But also, this is something that's very common in abuse cases where people try to make amends with the abuser. They will recant statements. They will let them off the hook, okay? Out of fear, bribery, whatever, manipulation, whatever. So that happens. So Jeannie Mai is like, oh, no. So now her camp comes out and they start leaking, both of them are leaking information at this point right now to the media. And that camp comes out and says, you know what? Like, if you want to go there, we're going to go there. The gloves are off. And this was probably going to come out in a wash anyway. But like, Jeezy's been abusive. Jeezy's out of his mind. Jeezy's walking around the house with AK-47s, like he thinks that he's still in BMF, right? And like, he's not right. Like, something's wrong with him. He's off. He's unstable. He's unhinged. This is what has been happening. Now the gloves are off, right? And y'all know, when it comes to the kids and the mothers, y'all, you could push a mother but so far, but like, you do that, the gloves are off, right? So that's what it comes down to. So now Jeannie reports that, Jeezy been walking around the house, leaving AKs around the house. He got into a golf cart accident. Now, rich folk, they get in those golf carts are like cars, right? They got speed. They could go, right? They be on these compounds and they be acting up. They be lit. And it looked like they got into an accident, and because he was drunk, and you could see from the text messages that he was drunk, and he, admitted that he felt bad about it. He was uneasy about it. But what that signified, and it looked pretty bad. Like they both got pretty bruised up and banged up by that. But what it signifies is a degree of unhinged, right? Like, you have to be like, how fast was he going? What was he doing? Why would you be driving a golf cart, that fast or that recklessly when you're drunk, right? Like, it does make you think, like, when you're with a man, you want to feel safe with him. You want him to lead you. You want to be comforted by him. You don't want him to put you in danger or in harm's way, right? And so you could see she's like checking him about it, like, you have to be careful. And she's like going easy on him about it. Like, I gotta wear dresses next week, whatever. But she's like, you, Jay, like, you gotta get it together. And but it sheds a little bit of insight on his mentality. Then you see the photos of him walking around the house with the gun. Now, it could be that he was taking the gun from one room to the next and he was just going to put it away. But when you see those images, it looks crazy. It looks like Tony Montana walking around his house when the hitmen were coming in to kill him. You know?
God. Okay, do you like that? Huh? Do you want more?
You know what I mean? Like, that's what it looked like. He like, what the hell's going on with Jeezy? He just walking around the house with AKs. Like, what is this? So it doesn't look good. But then when you bring in the report from the Ritz-Carlton and they say that, yeah, they saw him push her. Okay. And she was saying she was afraid. She did not want to be left alone with him. That day, she alleges that he also hit her, right, and pushed her down the steps or something like that. But the Ritz-Carlton said they didn't see the part where he choked her or hit her or any of that, but they did see him push her, okay, and that she was fearful and that he was telling them to leave, and they didn't want to leave. They was like, no, we can't do that. We're not going to leave her alone. And so that is telling. She speaks of another instance when they were in the car. He started going off on her, asked the driver to get out, and snuffed her, allegedly. I'm going to tell you right now, I believe all of it. I believe all of this. When people say, well, why was she trying to save her marriage? Because this probably the first time that she was physically assaulted by someone that she was with. We know she went through what she went through as a child when she was violated. This is probably the first time she was physically assaulted by someone that she was in a relationship with, and she probably was not understanding. You see the when she's talking about like when she got with Jeezy and he would tell her, he'd like kind of check her and she would be like, oh my God, like she was checking herself.
So you had it.
So I had it, but
nobody
ever called me out on it. Also in my line of work, sometimes being a boss, you have a lot of people who just agree to what you want. They're yes men, right? And so I didn't notice that I had a hot temper until I got with Jeezy. And here's a person who is my equal and I really respect. And when I would spew some of my old habits, and he was like, like that's not flying here. And also it would trigger him to come back at me with things where I was like, but I was triggering him. So through work, we learned that we both have certain habits that to the everyday person
when women start to get violated in that way, abused, right? The men tell them it's because of what they're doing, right? Like, well, you shouldn't have done this. And like you start to believe it. You start to think, oh my God, maybe I was in the wrong, right? Or it starts off with, you don't need to be talking to that person. And then you're like, oh, well, maybe if he doesn't want me doing this, I shouldn't do it. Maybe I am in the wrong. Maybe I shouldn't go here. Maybe I shouldn't wear this. Maybe I shouldn't talk to this person. And that's how it starts, and it snowballs. So you can kind of gather and put pieces together of her like trying to like make sense of it. Like, okay, well, maybe I am wrong. Like maybe it is because of me. And she's probably in her mind trying to fix it. So it's a crazy situation, y'all. He comes out and he says this on his Instagram, right? When that comes out, he says the allegations are not only false, but also deeply disturbing, especially coming from someone I loved. This malicious attempt to tarnish my character and disrupt my family is ridiculous. It's disheartening to witness the manipulation and deceit at play. And at this time, my main concern is being an active father to our daughter as I continue to fight for court-mandated joint custody. Rest assured, the truth will prevail through the proper legal channels. And then he captions, y'all know me, #integrity. And I'm gonna go into the comment section. Someone here said exactly what I thought when I saw this. This person said, when they say, quote unquote, y'all know me, we actually don't. And that's 100% sure. I said this in my last video about the the girl that went on the date, I was talking about how sometimes you think you know people, or you can know someone for years and you don't actually know them, right? These are celebrities. I like Jeezy's music, but I don't know Jeezy as a man. I don't know what Jeezy does in his household. I don't know how Jeezy conducts himself, right? We don't know them. We know who they show us to be online, right? And I could say that everything that I've seen thus far, what I'm seeing on his part and what is coming out, it does not look good for Jeezy. Okay. So we don't know Jeezy. Then these were the comments that were getting to me. Like, this is where we are in society. And it's so crazy to me. This girl Monet says, we believe you, but ain't nobody told you to go over there messing with Lil Maine. Like, y'all, I understand like jokes can be funny, but like at a time like this, let me tell you something. An abuser does not care about your race. An abuser doesn't care about anything but his ego, his self-esteem, his image, and controlling you. And then there's people saying, you know, we didn't hear this much about Jeezy with other relationships. I don't like this. And then someone calls him out and says, so the court document of you choking her down the stairs of the Ritz and pushing her with 4 witnesses, including hotel security, is a lie. The pastor is lying, because in the reports, it says Jeannie sat down with Jeezy and the therapist and Jeezy and the pastor to talk about his abuse. So Jeannie was trying to like work this out. She was thinking, and she doesn't understand, she doesn't know that typically men that are abusive do not get better. They don't get better. Okay. I've looked at the stats. I've talked to people about this before because I was in a similar, they do not get better. Okay. So it doesn't matter how much therapy you want to push on them, or you want to try to talk to them, try to get through to them, try to fix them, want to make it work because you want them to be a good dad and you thinking about that child. They do not get better. Okay. You need to run. And this is a prime example of that. Him trying to do like this PR play and trying to make her look like the bad guy and letting people bash on her, knowing damn well that he did all this nonsense, allegedly. This is the type of vitriol and nastiness and depravity and evil that you're dealing with when you're dealing with someone who is capable of being abusive to you. I understand that. So for any of you women out there dealing with somebody who is abusive, whether that's physically, mentally, verbally, whatever, get out of that situation. No matter what they say to you, it will not get better. Unless they perform a lobotomy on them, you know, and they just give you a whole new person. More than likely, it will not get better. All right. And that's just the facts. And then other people were saying, we absolutely don't know you. We know your music. Saying y'all know me sounds like manipulation. That's exactly what that is. Jeezy is aware of the fact that a lot of people were against the relationship to start because of the race factor, because she was Asian. He knows people wasn't with it. So he knows those same people that were like bashing her and bashing their relationship just off the strength of the fact that she's Asian, they're going to be the same ones that are going to come out in droves right now and stick up for him and bash her. Unfortunately, that is the way of the world, and that is how these things happen. For some people, race is everything, and they will look past things simply because you share the same race. And that's terrible, because if you look at the information, according to his history, race wasn't a factor when he allegedly did what he did to his son and put the mother, I'm assuming, through what she went through with that situation. And who knows what was happening, you know, behind the scenes. But that didn't seem to stop him in that situation. All right. So, and I don't think that that's a deterrent for any abuser. And then it just continues, you know, so then you have his other post where he is on a cover of a magazine called Sheen. I like that it looks like the more the like the real ones, more of the real ones started coming out and calling him out on his BS, saying, you know, typical narcissistic behavior. Thriving, beating women, poor excuse of a man, and beating up women. You see here, why are you walking around your house with an assault rifle? You see here another comment. Money doesn't change people. It only amplifies the characters that are inherently inside them. Ladies, run away from men who are sperm donors and then neglect the children they produce. Ain't nothing cool about that thug life. Yeah, because look, prior to this, I don't even think I thought about Jeezy as being a dad with Jeannie Mai. So I don't know how much fathering and parenting he does. And not to say, you know, some people don't post everything online. Yeah, I ate some sun chips and I feel it right here. But anyway, so, you know, it just looked like more people's calling them out. But there, you know, you see, it's disheartening a little bit when you see other celebs and they're like kind of support him. And I hate this for him because I do like Jeezy. I always like Jeezy as an artist, but like I said, we don't know how they are behind the scenes. I just know that what he's doing right now to this girl, if he put her through all of the things she's alleging, and like the evidence is coming out is kind of corroborating what she's claiming, for him to like keep trying to push her down and like bash her and do this publicly is like, it just means to me like he's a terrible person. I'm still gonna listen to Jeezy music, but as a person, it does make me look at him differently, and you know, it's not good. And then in this post, he says, when you know yourself, you are empowered. When you accept yourself, you are invincible. And then you have Slim Thug here, who's like vouching for him. You have people saying when the hate don't work, they start telling lies. And it says, I love you, Jeezy, but I saw the text. And then the supporters, she could never make us hate you. The truth will always come to light. You're wrong. I'll pray for you. Hashtag Jeannie Mai. And it's someone says, Snow, you good? Why'd the show get canceled tonight in KC? Been waiting 20 years to see you live, man. So it looks like he had a show in Kansas City and that was canceled. I don't know what happened there. And then people just calling him out. Why are you hitting women? And so forth. Yeah, so, you know, it's just, to me, I think it's just crazy to see that there are people that are going to support him regardless. And what happens when you have that is, it seems like when an abuser sees that they're not held accountable, that they can get away with whatever, it creates a monster, all right? Think about it. Think about if you know a person that's abusive and like the people that are around them that enable them, that don't call them out, they just become worse. They do think they're invincible. Like that caption just said. He says, when you know yourself, you are empowered. When you accept yourself, you are invincible. He thinks he's invincible. He does. And I know that he's trying to play it and trying to manipulate it into like, I know I didn't do what she's claiming, but I'm not going to let that faze me. And he's going to take that route. But he knows that he has enough support from the people to kind of feel okay and not have to be accountable, or kind of slide by without being ridiculed or having to take any accountability, because people are going to support him regardless, because they're fans of him. They like his music, because he shares the same race as them, because he's leaving the Asian woman, you know, all of those things for all the wrong reasons. Because, you know, who knows? It could be your sister he gets with next. It could be, you know, your friend, whoever he gets with next, who may have to enjoy the same thing. Jeannie Mai is someone who has some dollars, right? She's not like the typical baby mother behind the scenes that people don't really know, who these guys kind of meet, like, you know, at a club or at a bar, that are not in the spotlight. This is a woman that has some money, right? This is not like a, you know, it's just some random girl he met somewhere out. You know what I mean? So she can defend herself in the legal system. She doesn't have to be afraid of any threats. She doesn't have to cave in to manipulation. She doesn't, she's well, she can protect herself well and defend herself. So yeah, y'all, let me know your thoughts on this situation. I think this is crazy. I feel bad for Jeannie. I feel bad for any woman that ever has to go through this. But I think the comments are crazy. I think the people defending him are insane. Yeah, and that is my thoughts. And I'm going to the gym now, and I'm probably going to listen to some Jeezy, but I'm not going to think about the things that he does. Because, I can separate the music from the man. Let me know y'all thoughts on this. Do y'all believe Jeezy did everything Jeannie Mai is claiming he did? How do you feel about it? Let me know your thoughts. I'm out.